There is a piece of open source software called WordPress, which started in the early 2000s as a piece of software for running blogs, and now runs 43% of the internet. It's licensed under the GNU General Public License, which is essentially, to summarize an extremely complicated topic, it is, as long as you follow these sets of rules about how you distribute copies of this software, and you don't blame the people who wrote it if your server catches fire, you can do anything you want with it. You can run your website off it, you can give the code to someone else, as long as if you make any changes to it, you give them those too. You can run a hosting service off of it. You can, in theory, sell DVDs of it. Don't know who would buy it if you can just download it off the internet, but there's nothing legally stopping you from doing that. It's an open source license, capital O, capital S. It was created by a man named Matt Mullenweg. So it was originally written for running blogs, but nowadays you can run corporate websites off it, you can run forums, you can run social networking sites, you can run learning management systems, you can do basically anything with it, and it gives you by adding enough plugins to it. After this, Matt founded the WordPress Foundation, which is a charity that owns the WordPress trademark capital. Now, the WordPress trademark. This is going to become very important later, so refer to that. He also founded a company named Automatic, spelt with 3 T's. Yes, he put his own name in the name of his company. Automatic runs a number of businesses, one of which you may recognize is Tumblr.
Ooh.
Oh, God.
Another one, and which will become the centerpiece of this discussion, is WordPress.com, which is a service where you give them money and in return they run a WordPress site for you. But essentially, Automatic have a license to exploit the WordPress trademark.
I see.
There's also a website called WordPress.org, not to be confused with WordPress.com, which is the website for downloading WordPress itself, as well as for downloading WordPress themes and plugins. Essentially, people who make themes and plugins can upload them to WordPress.org after meeting a set of criteria, and then anyone on a WordPress install can click one button to download them.
Not to be confusing, but the WordPress.com make their own plugins and themes that exist on WordPress.org.
Yes.
Why would it be easy?
And the final party to this drama that we need to introduce is a company called WP Engine, who, in exchange for your money, will host a WordPress site for you. So, this is when things become interesting. On the 20th of September, there is a talk at WordCamp US, which is a WordPress conference, where Mr. Mullenweg, in no uncertain terms, shits all over WP Engine. This was followed up by a blog post the next day where
That's not very sanitary.
on the WordPress.org website, the official one, where he describes WP Engine as, quote, a cancer to
WordPress.org?
WordPress.org.
Okay.
The official website for the WordPress.project, where he describes WP Engine, this company that runs WordPress websites for money, as, quote, a cancer to WordPress.
Nice.
Oh.
His justifications being that they disable, on their sites that they host, they disable some core WordPress features, such as tracking of revisions of a post. So WordPress can save the history of a post, so you can go back to earlier versions. WP Engine disable it on their sites, ostensibly because people wouldn't use it, possibly also to save on storage. Either way, the GNU General Public License gives them the right to do that. Another justification that Mac gives is that they don't contribute back as much developer time as Automatic does. So sort of one of the unwritten rules in the open source world is that, excuse me, if you are making a significant benefit from an open source project, it is expected that you will contribute back in some form, either by funding or by contributing code to the project. Now, Automatic have quite a number of people whose full-time job is to work on WordPress itself. WP Engine, I believe, also has some, but a lot fewer.
Yeah.
Again, legally, there is no obligation to do this. You could just take the WordPress code, run it, and not contribute a penny or an hour back to the WordPress project. And finally, his claim is that using the phrase WP in their company name makes it seem affiliated with WordPress when they aren't. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because on the WordPress.org website, they have a trademark policy page, which tells you how you are and aren't allowed to use the WordPress name. One thing it used to say on there is, quote, the abbreviation WP is not covered by the WordPress trademarks, and you are free to use it in any way you see fit.
Did they remove it and then...
No, they changed it to... The abbreviation WP is not covered by the WordPress trademarks, but please don't use it in a way that confuses people. For example, many people think WP Engine is WordPress engine and officially associated with WordPress, which it's not. They have never once even donated to the WordPress Foundation, despite making billions of revenue on top of WordPress. That is the wording on the website.
But it's confusing because they can't put the name of the product they sell in their company name.
So here's the thing. In trademark law, you know this is going to be good.
Oh, no.
There is the concept of fair use, which is similar but not the same in copyright law, so don't get them mixed up.
Yeah.
So in trademark law, essentially fair use is where you are allowed to use a trademark that someone owns. And one of those uses is what's known as the nominative use. So essentially, if a thing you are making interacts with something else where the name is trademarked, there are cases where you can use it. For example, if you make a piece of software for Windows, you are allowed to say it is for Microsoft Windows, and that is not a trademark violation. You aren't allowed to say... You aren't allowed to say, for instance, take the example of a piece of software that I have worked on called Badger. I am allowed to say Badger for Windows, because I am describing that it is a piece of software for Windows. If I were to say it is Windows Badger and make it seem like it is associated with Microsoft or Windows, that would get me in some legal hot water. But I'm very much allowed to describe it as something that works with it, in the same way as describing that you could say that a plugin is, I don't know, what's an example? E-commerce for WordPress. That is entirely a legitimate use of it. Saying WordPress commerce is a little bit more muddy, but like WP Engine, again, WP not being covered by the WordPress trademarks, are very much allowed to say that they run a WordPress hosting service because they're describing what they do with WordPress.
Also, all the WP engines seem to have done wrong, from what I can tell from what you've described so far, are not give back as much as WordPress would like, and go against a please don't, not a actual trademark violation.
It's about to become a lot more interesting.
Oh!
A lot more interesting.
In what way?
So, one thing that transpired later down the line is that essentially legal letters started flying around. WP Engine sent word automatic. I'm going to be very careful with my terms. WP Engine's automatic a cease and desist letter, which essentially it doesn't have any legal value in and of itself, but it is a lawyer saying to another lawyer, please stop doing this or I will sue you. Where one quote from this cease and desist letter is, Mullenweg threatened that if WP Engine did not agree to pay Automatic, his for-profit entity, a very large sum of money before his September 20th keynote address at the WordCamp US Foundation, he was going to embark on a self-described scorched earth nuclear approach toward WP Engine within the WordPress community and beyond. And one of the things included in this letter is screenshots of text messages that Matt Mullenweg has ostensibly, allegedly, sent to the CEO of WP Engine immediately before he is due to give his keynote talk at WordCamp. One of these screenshots says, I am literally waiting for them to finish the raffle so my talk can start. I can make it just a QA about WP very easily, rather than shitting all over WP Engine. What later transpired is, after more legal documents flew around, is that Automatic published the term sheet that they sent to WP Engine. So in the months leading up to all this drama, it transpired that Automatic attempted to come to an agreement with WP Engine where Automatic would license to WP Engine the WordPress trademarks in exchange for a royalty fee equal to 8% of its gross revenue on a monthly basis.
Ooh. That is some monies.
That's money.
Considering that I'm not going to say any numbers for fear of getting them wrong, but WP Engine is a profitable company.
I'd hope so.
Yes, and then on the 23rd of September, Automatic sent its own cease and desist to WP Engine, essentially alleging that WP Engine were violating the WordPress trademarks. This is where it becomes especially spicy.
Ooh.
So, on the 25th of September, all WP Engine sites were banned from downloading plugins from WordPress.org.
Oof.
Oh.
Now, what's interesting here is WordPress.org is not owned by the WordPress Foundation. It is not owned by Automatic. It is owned by Matt Mullenweg himself. And is operated, I believe, though I could be wrong on this, on Automatic infrastructure. But he owns the domain.
Oh.
On the 26th, Matt posts a post on his own blog claiming it's all about trademarks, but we Automatic have been attempted to make a licensing deal for a very long time, and all they've done is string us along. Yes, thank you. Then the ban from the Mac Singer was lifted and then unlifted. WP Engine filed a lawsuit against Automatic and Matt Mullenweg personally, alleging violations including intentional interference with contractual relations, violations of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, attempted extortion, unfair competition, promissory estoppel, libel, and slander, among others.
Promissory estoppel? What on
My
earth is
favourite
that?
sports.
I don't have time to get into that, but
Okay.
it's a legal term of art. Yes, so WP Engine filed a lawsuit against Automatic and WordPress.org. Essentially, yeah, promissory estoppel is where a promise has been made but not acted on. In layman's
we don't have time
terms.
to get into this. Immediately get into what it is.
And I will say no more on that. Then, the WordPress.org login page, so you need to log in to contribute to it, because also it's the website where WordPress developers communicate, and is also how you get access to WordPress Slack. It is updated to add a button on the login page that reads, a tick box that reads, I am not affiliated with WP Engine in any way, financially or otherwise. And you have to tick it to log in.
Nice.
This
Very
feels
good.
really petty.
And then,
It's really fucking petty.
and the height of this whole thing is that one way the WP Engine do arguably contribute back to WordPress community is that they maintain a plugin called Advanced Custom Fields, which essentially lets you add custom fields to post in WordPress. So, for instance, WordPress has a title field for its post, but if you wanted a subtitle field or a blurb field, you could use Advanced Custom Fields to add them without having to hack on the WordPress code. And then you could read them from your theme or other plugins.
I'm assuming a lot of people use this.
Yes, and it's maintained by developers at WP Engine. On the 12th of October, Matt announced that they are forking Advanced Custom Fields into a plugin called Secure Custom Fields, and replacing the listing on WordPress.org for Advanced Custom Fields with Secure Custom Fields, meaning that any sites configured to get automatic updates would have their ACF replaced with SCF automatically.
Oh.
The justification for this was that there is a security issue in ACF that WP Engine, the developers employed by WP Engine, had not patched. To which WP Engine countered that they couldn't because they couldn't log into WordPress.org without ticking that box.
So they were like, in good faith, we can't log in.
Eventually, I believe they sent the patch to the WordPress security team who then applied it.
No.
The drama is still evolving, so ostensibly people who are questioning the addition of the login field have been getting banned from WordPress Slack.
The source is now spicy, not open.
Yeah, and then the most interesting thing that came out of this, I know that we are running somewhat short on time, but on the 3rd of October, Matt offered employees of Automatic an offer that if they disagreed with his actions, they could resign and be paid $30,000 or 6 months of their salary, whichever is higher.
You know,
And apparently, he posted that 159 employees took the offer, which is just shy of 10% of Automatic's employees.
Crikey.
But before all this transpired, they had 1,800 employees.
so
Later, he made another offer, this time offering 9 months of salary in exchange for leaving if they disagreed with his direction. And that brings us roughly to today. There are several points in this document that I have not talked about because it would get even more fun. You can look it up. There are various news articles summarizing this whole messy situation.
You know, what I'm about to say, I should really clarify that this is not the official opinion of Untitled.mov.
Well, no, you'll be protected under the fair comment defense.
But this is the personal opinion of me, Corey Anderson.
Go
this
on.
Matt guy sounds like a little fucking petty bitch.
Well, at least our show
Not you,
doesn't
by
have,
the way. The,
yeah,
the other Matt.
at least our show doesn't have a name, so no one will ever be able to find it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been happening over the past month, and I have had to update this document several times in the past week because all this drama is still going on, and it just looks bad.
Expect an update next episode.
Yeah.